When it comes to this whole Israel thing, I have yet to fully form an opinion, so I chose to just stay quiet at the moment. Then in response to a story that I posted yesterday, I had a question arise from one of my followers, and it was a good question. But it made me realize that maybe I'm doing more of an injustice by remaining quiet on this issue. And with that said, I'm not going to dive into the issue itself. Because to be all the way honest, I don't care enough. I am compassionate towards innocent lives lost, regardless of where they are, but I'm America first. So I'm more vested in our issues on the home front. You can guilt trip me with the whole idea that as a Christian, I'm supposed to have a vested interest in the affairs of Israel, but I'm entitled to a different opinion, and I will hold that opinion respectfully and not be bullied into the worldview that is popular in the conservative sector. With that said, my issue is not with who's right or wrong in the Israel situation. My issue is with the fact that in the conservative sector, the champions of free speech tend to end and draw the line at free speech when it comes to the Jewish community. And I'm seeing this over and over again here lately. And the reason that issue is becoming a big problem for me is that we understand that the Jews do run and control 98% of the media. And that includes our major media in the conservative sector. Let's go there. So when you see your champions out here on the conservative side, rapping and raving about how we ought to be standing for Israel and there's no two sides to this and the nerve of you, those people just happen to make their living off of paychecks signed by the Jewish community. Is that an issue? No. You are free to work where you please, but let's be real here and not act like you have a vested interest in your virtue signaling while trying to shut down other people's opinions in the party of free speech. I take issue with that. And we've seen that same crap taking place when our brother Kanye was taking issue with some of the practices in the Jewish community and was criticizing them. Regardless of how you feel about Ye, dive deeper into that issue. The Jewish community propped up Candace Owens. The Jewish community funded and paid her to criticize the black community and talk about the ills and the awful things that take place within her own community to the disdain of the people that those issues were affecting. She was completely hated, and arguably for just cause, because no one should be held above criticism, even if they've been told they were a victim for dozens of years. So fine. Yeah, let's prop her up for that. Bravo, that was brave of Candace. But it's not brave of her to stand with her friend when he holds the same level of criticism for the Jewish community?
That was the tweet. And people subsequently demanded that the tweet be taken down for anti-Semitism. Now, if you are an honest person, you did not think this tweet was anti-Semitic. You did not think that he wrote this tweet because he hates or wants to genocide Jewish people. This does not represent the beginning of the Holocaust. That's if you're an honest person, you'll admit that. You will admit that, right? If you're an honest person, when you read this tweet, you had no idea what the hell he was talking about. I had no idea when I read this tweet what the hell he was talking about. This tweet inspired questions, not answers. First and foremost, what is DEFCON 3?
Suddenly, from what I hear, PragerU was getting calls left and right. When are you gonna say something to Candace? How dare her not call out Ye? Daily Wire getting the same calls and expectations to chastise this grown adult lady for simply standing with her friend and not criticizing him and kicking him when he was down like the rest of the world was. Isn't that what a friend does? Her respecting his free speech was demonized. I'm confused now, because truth is the most important thing when it's time to criticize the Negro. Truth over feelings. But is it not a fact that the Jews own 90%, 98% of the media? And from a position of power, do control the things that are taking place? And while we sit back and criticize the Negroes that are out here making this horrible music and profiting off the destruction of our culture, we're ignoring who makes the biggest profit and who has the biggest vested interest in the degeneracy in our media and our culture. We can ignore that. Because accountability begins and ends at black people. But the people profiting off the black people who have the power to say, we ain't gonna sign you a deal if you make junk music. The people who have the power to say, hey, that stuff that y'all doing, that ain't popping. We ain't putting our name on that. No accountability there. Very interesting. And what even worse, Ben Shapiro is even on tape going as far as saying that Candace Owens is lucky that she didn't say what Ye said, because if she said it, she would have been gone.
My friend Candace Owens is friends with Kanye. She initially gave a response. Candace is great, but she initially gave a response that I thought was pretty wrong, both morally and sort of logically. But we allowed disagreement at the Daily Wire, even when I think that some of my colleagues are wrong. If she had said, let's put it this way, if she had said what Kanye had said, she wouldn't be working at the Daily Wire.
So you just publicly stated that had she exercised her free speech to criticize the Jewish community, she would no longer be at the Daily Wire. That sounds like a public declaration and threats almost to remind this Negro to get in check. Let's be real. Y'all ain't never heard me pull the race card. But the way they throw around anti-Semitic every time somebody got a freaking opinion about anything pertaining to the Jewish community in Israel, miss me with the race card BS and the victimhood speech. Because the ultimate victimhood that I'm seeing in the conservative community is pertaining to the Jews. We gotta act like any police brutality, everything the police do is always right, and there's never a bad instance. But when anything gets says about Israel or the Jews, anti-Semitic gets thrown out immediately, even by our conservative pundits. Now, what's the difference between that and the race card? Why can't people just have an opinion? Why can't they just be telling the truth? And it just happened to be about Jews. Why does it automatically get labeled anti-Semitic? We have a problem here, people. We have a problem here. And the reason that I'm going here is stating how big of a problem this is that only when it comes to the Jews am I noticing and recognizing that the mainstream media's narrative directly aligns with the conservative talking points. Any other issue? The conservatives are completely distrusting of mainstream media. They're openly questioning everything that's being told to us, as we were taught to do. We don't believe anything they say is fake news. They're lying to us. They're trying to push a narrative. There's an agenda behind it. But every time it's the Jews, the mainstream media's narrative is directly aligned with the popular talking points on our side. If you don't see a problem with that, your eyes aren't open. And for a lot of us, I believe your eyes are closed on purpose because of who's signing those checks. Or you not recognize that the people who are popular in this space have a vested interest in remaining biased. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.